Everybody, so I'm on this beautiful hike here in Boulder. I have missed these mountains so much. I'm getting muddy as fuck, but loving every moment of it. And I've been having some downloads around energy and love. Love, in my eyes, is the most pure energy. And I believe that before that's shared with anyone else, it's stemming from and coming from a source within yourself, within ourselves. And, you know, love can have this funny way of teaching us lessons. Whether there's lack of love or rejection of love through reflections and all of that shit. But guess what? As much as it's like, come back to love, come back to light, come back to loving acceptance and unconditional love for all beings, sometimes the most loving thing you can do for yourself and someone else is to draw a fucking line. When love is draining you more than it is serving you. And this is a pattern for me because I am almost too self-aware sometimes that I can analyze and reflect and try to figure everything out and like process it and somehow bring it back to myself. Like, how am I attracting this situation? How am I creating this situation? What is it in me? And that's really healthy, right? It's good for us to do that. We need to do that. And sometimes what we need to do is say, the train stops here. The love train stops here, and it's time to disembark, clean out the train, and get going on the journey. Because even love can be an energy sap, and it's not just about feeling good and being energized, but it's about, like, the most potent self-love is when you care for how you are treating yourself. And if a situation is causing you more self-harm than it is self-love, it's probably a really strong sign that it's not aligned. And it doesn't mean that, you know, there's anyone to blame. But sometimes you need to burn a bridge, and sometimes you have to let yourself go to that place of like, fuck off, the line stops here, in order to like maintain real radical love. Sometimes that's the most loving thing you can do. And it's actually the most harmful thing that you can do to yourself or another, to pretend like nothing's wrong and that it's all your fault. And this is coming from a lot of experience. I've experienced this with friendships, with partnerships, with different sorts of relationships, how open I can keep myself because I'm just longing for some breakthrough and I'm longing for some clarity, and it can really like drain my energy. And I'm having this realization on my hike that actually wanting resolution can be like an unhealthy thing, when to just let it go. And in the recent past, I've realized when I've just let something go, it had its own totally beautiful resolution. And it did require me being a bit firm and harsh and doing things in a not so loving way, but that was actually what was most loving for a clean cut. And it seems to be like these messages coming through. And I'm curious, you know, I have a lot of friends, girlfriends and guy friends, who have shared with me similar things. You know, they're keeping their energy open and it's just exhausting. And sometimes you got to make a loving mess and say, hey, you know, the line fucking ends here. That's it. Let's like let this show hit the road and clean up shop, so that we can be connected to true love, which is God, which is life, which is nature, which is not dependent on anybody else, right? Those things that take you to that space, meditation, breathing, hiking, dancing, painting, working, whatever it is for you that takes you to that space of feeling the divine love in your life as you are, is what we want. So these are some Boulder downloads. These beautiful Boulder mountains are so spectacular. I was just telling my friend before I came up here, these mountains to me feel like the most fucking epic lover I've ever had. I'm like walking down the street and I can feel my body getting activated and excited, and I feel like I'm like coming home to like my divine husband of the mountains. And you know, we all deserve that. I think everyone wants love, and this has been a pretty strong theme for me, especially being in Scorpio season right now. The whole month of October and November, we're really being asked to look at relationships, and love and partnership and intimacy with self and with other. And, you know, if you are also processing and curious and exploring things like this, you're on track. And also be aware if you're kind of avoiding the terrain of relationships and intimacy, this might show that it's a terrain for you that's a little bit more unfamiliar and a little challenging. So I invite you to find gentle ways that you can dive in and immerse, because there's so much to be had here, but it's not comfortable. And that's what Scorpio teaches us. Transformation is not comfortable. Transformation will fucking squeeze you. And the 3 stages of Scorpio are to move from the scorpion, up into the phoenix, burned by the ashes, rising into the dove. What is it to transmute poison and the subterfuge and the hidden through the flames of transmutation into love, into the most pure, potent, harmonious love? Scorpio is all about love. Scorpio is all about intimacy, because the deepest intimacy is found when we can go to those places that are really challenging and see them through. So that's the download from today. Lots of love.